Europe in shock. Princess Leonor Denmark ceremony changes royal weddings forever. They said royal weddings follow a script, graceful, predictable, and polished. But no one was ready for what Princess Leonor of Spain did in Denmark. The world expected a royal event. What they witnessed was a rewriting of royal history. This wasn't just another royal union, it was a declaration. A message wrapped in diamonds, tradition, and defiance. Europe didn't just watch a wedding, it watched the birth of a new era of monarchy. As the Spanish heir to the throne walked through the grand aisle of Amalienburg Palace, something in the air shifted. The whispers weren't just about her gown, or the guest list filled with kings and queens, it was about the realization that the future of royalty no longer looks like the past. The ceremony in Denmark became the pulse of a continent. A merging of elegance and rebellion. For centuries, royal weddings were expected to be restrained, emotion held back, public image perfected. But Leonor changed that in one breathtaking moment. When she took her vows, her voice didn't tremble. Her words carried more than love, they carried conviction. She wasn't just marrying a prince, she was uniting two royal houses in a way that symbolized modern Europe, free, daring, and emotionally raw. Even Queen Letizia, known for her grace under pressure, was seen wiping away tears as her daughter stepped into her destiny. The Spanish crowd, gathered in Madrid and Barcelona squares, watched live, waving flags and crying openly. Many said it felt like the whole country paused, time itself bowed to Leonor. But what exactly made this wedding so different? For one, the dress. Designed by a collaboration between Spain's Casa del Real Atelier and Denmark's House of Holstein, it broke all royal norms. No lace veil, no excessive jewels, instead, a sculpted satin gown with symbolic embroidery of both nations' emblems. Hidden in the hemline were stitched phrases from both royal mottos, strength through unity, and love before duty. It wasn't fashion, it was storytelling. And in that moment, Leonor didn't just wear a gown, she wore a statement. And then came the silence, that sacred pause before the vows. Every eye turned to the young princess, every breath held. But what she said next sent ripples across Europe. I marry not to be a princess of two nations, but a servant of both. That single sentence, whispered across microphones, broke centuries of royal convention. It was humility wrapped in power, and it instantly went viral. Social media exploded. Within hours, clips of her speech were trending across Spain, Denmark, the UK, and even the US, labeled, "The moment royalty became human again." And yet, behind the scenes, tension simmered. There were reports of quiet disagreements among advisors from both palaces. Traditionalists argued the ceremony had gone too modern. Some insiders said that members of the Spanish Royal Council were uneasy. This was supposed to be a state union, not a cultural revolution. But Leonor didn't back down. Every decision, from the music, a blend of Spanish guitars and Danish strings, to the inclusion of female royal guards, was hers. And the people loved her for it. In Copenhagen, the crowds cheered as she and her husband emerged on the balcony. Leonor didn't wave mechanically like monarchs of old, she laughed, she reached out to the people, and in that spontaneous, radiant gesture, history shifted again. The press would later describe it as the moment monarchy remembered emotion. Spain was overwhelmed. The nation that had watched Leonor grow from a quiet young heir into a poised leader now saw her embody the future, a queen in waiting who leads not through distance, but through connection. But perhaps the most moving part of the entire ceremony came later that evening, during the private reception. According to close sources, Leonor took the microphone, looked across the ballroom filled with royalty and diplomats, and began to speak not from notes, but from the heart. She spoke about her late great-grandfather, about the weight of expectation, and about how love, real love, gives strength to rule wisely. Guests said there wasn't a dry eye in the room. Even the Danish queen was reportedly deeply moved, calling the speech a bridge between generations. By midnight, #Leonor Wedding 2025 was the #1 trend in Europe. But the conversation wasn't just about the lavishness or the guest list, it was about the symbolism. The young generation saw themselves in her. The media called it the modern monarchy moment. Every photograph, every glance, every smile became an emblem of change. Fashion editors praised her minimalist beauty. Diplomats praised her symbolism, and the people praised her courage. But the most powerful reactions came from Spain itself. The older generation, once skeptical of her readiness, began to speak differently. They called her La Reina del Corazón, the Queen of Hearts. What made this moment even more extraordinary was what followed. The Danish royal family released an official statement praising the union as a new chapter of shared heritage, while the Spanish court published never-before-seen images of Leonor and her husband, showing genuine affection, hand in hand, smiling, walking through the Danish gardens. This openness was unthinkable just a decade ago. For the first time, the world saw a royal couple not performing love, but living it. And as Europe absorbed the aftermath, commentators began to agree, this ceremony didn't just redefine royal fashion, it redefined royal identity. It broke the mold of how monarchies present themselves in a fast-changing world. From her modern vows to her cultural inclusivity, Leonor turned what could have been another royal spectacle into a mirror of our times, where tradition meets progress, and power bows to authenticity. In Madrid, street murals appeared overnight depicting Leonor in her wedding gown with the words, Nuestra Reina del Pueblo, our Queen of the People. And in that phrase lies the truth. The world didn't fall in love with the diamonds, or the palace, or the luxury. It fell in love with the humanity, the courage to be different, to love openly, to lead with heart. Because in that Danish ceremony, one young princess reminded all of Europe that royalty isn't about crowns or carriages. It's about connection. It's about showing that even in the grandest halls of history, love still leads the way. As the music faded, as the lights dimmed, as the guests departed, Europe knew something fundamental had changed. The monarchy had found its new voice, and her name is Leonor. This was not just a wedding. It was a transformation, and it will be remembered as the day royalty became real again.